Welcome to Keep Your Power, brought to you by Promise Resource Network. Let's see, today's topic is one of my favorites: how to kick anxiety's ass. Right? How to kick anxiety's ass. I'm tired of anxiety kicking my ass. I want to kick its ass. So, today we're going to talk about how to shift, how to be able to maneuver through anxiety. You can sit right here, Porter. So, how to deal with anxiety? It says in our literature, everyone feels anxious from time to time. Occasionally, anxiety is a normal reaction to uncertainty about what's going to happen next, whether it's in the next few minutes, days, or months from now. We can Man, I can get all worked up about something that's not even going to happen anytime soon. Anybody else relate to that?
Yeah.
The future. What's going to happen in the future? And that causes me anxiety.
You just turn on the news. It's like, God,
Oh.
I want to be informed.
Oh, I don't
I
watch
know,
that.
I don't want to be
I don't
informed
watch
either.
that.
You know who died while you were sleeping? Oh, why? Why?
So those things can bring anxiety to us, right? The future, whether it's in a moment, whether it's in the far future, it can cause us anxiety. So mental health experts define anxiety as a worry over a threat that's still in our future. Thinking about a conversation we dread, for example, could twist our stomachs into knots before it happens. Our heart may race before an exam or presentation. Anxiety affects us, doesn't it? It affects our bodies. We know anxiety causes stress. Hey, Darlene, Suzanne, good to see you. Uh, Anxiety causes stress in our body, and we know that stress can cause our stomach to start hurting, our shoulders to get tight,
Heart attack.
heart attacks, diabetes, cancer. Stress can cause all these things. And depending on how we deal with our anxiety, it depends on our health after that. Does that make
You think that
sense?
sometimes it's passed down to how we saw our family members or people around us deal with stress and anxiety?
Hmm.
It gives us an indication that this is what it's okay or not okay to show our emotions. My mother just had this conversation. She said, I don't want to hear you say I have anxiety. I said, sometimes you have to identify what you have to deal with it. Because sometimes it's not anxiety, sometimes it's fear, sometimes it's depression, sometimes it's not anxiety. But if you
Yeah.
can identify what it is, you can deal with it. Just you not wanting to deal with it. I think because anxiety actually affects other people. Like
Yeah.
there's the outward emotions of what anxiety looks like. Oh, calm down, because you make other people anxiety like anxious when you're anxious. Like calm down, you're making me anxious because it translates.
Yeah.
That energy that comes in the room like, hey God, calm down. Like when
That's it. It creates an energy, doesn't it? And we can not only be affected by that, we can be infected by that, right? It can take over our bodies, our person, not just our mind, where we get into that. I mean, that's what the music sounds like in my head. The Wizard of Oz is kicking. That's how I know I'm anxious. So, yeah. When we worry about getting rid of anxiety, we're signaling our nervous system that we have even more to be anxious about, and that makes our anxiety worse. So when I think about anxiety and somebody says calm down, first, please don't tell people to calm down. They won't.
Don't tell me to calm down.
stop crying.
I know.
Okay, no
Oh,
problem.
yeah.
I don't know.
Darlene says, good morning. David's in the house. Good morning, my friend. Suzanne's got an apartment. Nice news. Good news. Good news. So, anxiety happens. What are some things that can cause anxiety?
People.
People,
Yeah.
period. Yes, sir.
Work.
Work.
Any kind of life change.
People at work.
Yeah.
Even sometimes when I'm becoming successful, I'm doing something that is positive. It's anxiety that I have to now. It's a responsibility now. Like even when you see like now I'm a role model now. Like that's anxiety. Like
Yeah.
so like, who's watching me? Like and now like have to be in like
I gotta act right.
Oh my God! Like, oh my God, people are looking up to me. Wow, why would you do that? But it's not. It's me anxiety because I'm human. I will make mistakes, but I know what to do with the mistakes. And everything is nothing has to be wasted.
Nothing has to be wasted. And we do learn how to deal with it. We do learn. And it's how we deal with it that affects my mind, body, and spirit. Right? It says here, calm anxiety by accepting it. What? It's not what people expect. Yeah, this is, yeah.
Yeah, really. Just like that.
Just like that. Yeah. It's not what people expect to hear, but one of the most effective ways to ease occasional anxiety is to accept it. When we let anxiety run its course in the moment without fighting it, ironically, it makes it less. On the other hand, if we fight anxiety, it typically makes it more festive.
Like
Yes, Steve.
I like to, because I was, when I first started working for FedEx, I used to let them push my buttons. I like to think anxiety kind of pushes your buttons. And then you get to a point where you just don't, like when they do that same thing again, you just have to take that silent moment in your head for a second and realize it's not worth getting excited over.
That's it.
And just deal. But it's hard. You know,
It is hard.
especially when you don't see it coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of like fear. Like when you have to face your fear sometimes. Like you can like, oh my God, I fear this, I fear this, I fear this. I said the only way you can beat fear is to confront it. I have to like know that you're not bigger than me because most of the time it's in my mind.
Yeah.
It's amplifying more than it is. Like a dog. Like I'm scared of you. You're scared of me too. Like it's not that I project my fears onto you. Like, you're thinking about me. I don't even know you.
Yeah.
I like what you said about watching us because we are an example now.
That's it. I don't
And we show other people how to better or a different way to deal with anxiety. You know, and we only know what we know. So when I got anxious, I couldn't get I was playing doctor. I used cocaine to bring me up, and I used alcohol. And alcohol is a depressant.
Oh, yeah.
So I thought to myself, that'll calm me down. But the more I drank and the more I looked at this thing, the greater the anxiety got. Right? So if we can accept it as is, it is fear. What am I going to do about this? Face everything and run, or F everything? No, wait. Face everything and recover? Or F everything and run? And those are our choices. As for me, way like my writing, channel it, use that energy because it's energy. It's like anger. It's a form of energy that we can harness to do something different with. Right?
I have to say something to myself just to keep me calm. I said, wherever I am, God is. So even when I'm in the most fear, when I'm most scared, God is right there with me. A higher power has never left me. So I know this is for a reason. So what is the purpose for this happening? There's a reason and intention behind what's going on with me. Maybe it's to show people how to handle this,
Yeah.
or how to be an example. Like, oh, if they have a conversation like this is what I went through. I like people who have to go through stories and don't talk about the problem, but talk about what they learned from it. Like I can get a lot from what you learned from, but when she's talking about the problem,
Yeah.
I can't do anything about the problem, but I can do a lot with the solution. Oh, you learned that? Wow. I like
To
the
share
idea of
that
solution.
experience,
Your
absolutely.
testimony, I can get a lot from the testimony. The test is yours.
And it's true. It's true for each of us. Our truth is our truth. Our truth is our truth. Yes, sir.
I think he had it.
Okay, Steve.
I've discovered a lot of times, because I have an anxiety disorder on top of my other issues, that other people who have, depending on how you cope with their anxiety, other people can push their issue onto you,
Yes.
and if you just accept it, then that just the anxiety passes on to you. But I've discovered what a lot of times it's just my father's really bad about, and they're really bad where I work, and it's just to look at them and just go, if the world we're going to end tomorrow, would it really matter?
Do I give a shit about this?
Yes, exactly. Do I give a shit about this?
Is this person
And-
significant?
and I really don't.
Yeah.
And if I know I really don't, why am I letting them fuck with me?
We don't have to accept it.
Yeah,
We
you
don't
don't.
have to accept
really
it,
don't.
Patrick.
The way I look at it, well, now when I have anxiety, it's like in the group, come sit with me or something.
Yeah.
Like Bunny said, every day, when I'm faced with things, negativity, whatever it may be, confrontations, things like that. If I am,
Uh-huh.
I think to myself, is there anything I can do about it? You know, like you said, if the world's gonna end tomorrow, can I stop it?
Yeah.
No. You know, it's gonna end.
And if it ends, what the hell would it matter anyway?
Right.
And that's pretty much
So
it.
it's like,
Yeah. Hold on.
with confrontation, talk, argument, or anything like that, I just if I feel like anxiety is going to be a problem, now I'm able to think like that. Like, okay, well, there's nothing I can do about it. If it's someone else's problem, it's their problem. I can try. I can try and coach them through it or something.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of effort. And I look at it. I step back and look at it. Say, would it cause me problems? Would it cause me more, or would it cause me too much anxiety or too many problems to coach them through it or try and talk to them about it? And if it would, I just let it go. I'd say, hey, I can't really do this right now. I'd level with them, so I wouldn't put myself in that situation. But a lot of times, I think of it, it's out of my hands.
Yeah.
And I'm able to stop, reflect, and breathe. You know, and I can
It's that choice of power.
Right.
How am I going to use this power? Because I've got power today. Am I going to participate in this? Is this important enough for me to address? Right? And to accept the fact that there are so many things in the world we can't control.
Right.
Oh,
We just can't.
we can't. Other people are the biggest thing
Right.
because they don't act right.
And I think once the wounded child in me heals, and I can start to evolve as a human being, as an adult. Because I was always, I can recognize when I'm responding, or reacting to something or circumstances from a place of a child, like an 8-year-old who's powerless. But now that I know the tools that I have now, like that's not me anymore.
Yeah.
I know once I can start to identify that that's not the place where I was, where I didn't have the information, I didn't have the tools, I didn't have the resources.
Yep.
I know more. I can do better now. So
Yeah.
I don't have to be, oh, woe is me. No. I know what the solution. I can start to breathe. That's my tool. I can start to breathe and say, you know what? Wherever I am, God is, and everything happens for a reason. And that serenity prayer.
Yeah.
It's in my mind always. Like if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. If God could have changed it, He could. He would have. If God would have allowed it, He could. If God wouldn't have allowed it, God would have allowed it if He couldn't bring good out of it. So everything is my work towards my good.
If I use it to learn.
You know, like,
Absolutely.
How can I use this? How is it supposed to be benefiting me or benefiting others?
I love what you said about the solution too a minute ago. You said that I want to seek people that have the solution to whatever's going on in my world because I know how to drink.
Right.
Right? You don't got to tell me about drinking.
You drink alcohol.
But I want to know what the solution is. I want to know how to get from this level of anxiety to a place of peace again. To a place of peace again. Yes, sir.
And once you find your self peace, it's wonderful. It's like no better feeling. Once you're at peace with yourself,
Yeah.
you know, like I said in the other group, I think the guy was Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah.
He said a quote was like, would you rather be at what is it? War with the world and peace with yourself?
Ooh.
Or, you know, the opposite.
Yeah.
And it's like once you find self peace, like you just live every day differently.
Yeah.
You know, you don't really surround yourself with people that's going to start arguments or that are constantly negative, bringing up negative or bringing negativity to you.
Mhm.
You're at peace.
You're at peace.
You look at life differently.
That's
I'm-
probably
I'm
the
a-
best way to live.
Yeah.
Like you don't really. I mean, every time somebody see you, like me, like I say, every time somebody sees you, it's like they're happy. Rather
Yeah.
than here they come.
Oh
again,
God,
you
here
know.
He come.
Yeah.
Oh God, Lord,
Hold on.
I
It's
hate
just
that.
peaceful, you know.
Except that
I appreciate what you said because, and now I can't remember, but hold on.
Peace with yourself.
We choose.
Yeah.
We choose today. We choose how to use our power, how to use our energy.
Right.
And if I can get to that point of serenity and peace,
Yeah.
I chase that.
Yeah.
I chase that harder than I've ever chased a drug or a
Right.
drink in my life.
It's a necessity.
It is. And I always tell people, once you have tapped into that peace,
Yes.
serenity, and joy, you are absolutely screwed
Yeah.
because you'll chase that.
It's a way of
You
living.
will- it is a way of
Yeah.
living. And it is what I want today. I want to be peaceful today. I want to be the one that brings joy instead of discourse. Yes, Steve.
On that note, I think what's been important for me is a lot of times in our life we we're people pleasers. We let the people around us define who we are.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think when you get to a certain point in your recovery and you start realizing who you really are and you define yourself and stop letting those other people define you with their bullshit
Yes.
and define yourself. And when they put that on you, you're like, that just isn't me.
Right.
It doesn't fit.
It doesn't fit.
Yeah.
And then that helps a lot with your anxiety, I think.
Right.
Control your own narrative.
Yeah, basically. And be honest with yourself about whatever
Yeah.
that narrative is, as truthfully as you can. And if somebody gives you an honest criticism, it's
Yeah.
one thing. But just somebody pulling you into their stuff because they can.
Yeah.
No.
That's that misery loves company kind of deal. That if I
Yeah.
feel bad, I want you to feel bad
Right.
deal. Yes, Pat.
Well, I mean, you have to. I think it's like distinguishing when to take other people's opinions into consideration, like for yourself, knowing the difference. Like, is this person good for me, or is this group of people good for me, or are they gonna bring me down? So it's based on, like, I would base it on surrounding yourself with. Everybody has goals they're trying to
Yes.
reach, some sort of goal you're trying to reach in life. So basically, I would say surround yourself with people that have the same goals as you, like wanting peace in life, wanting to be at a certain level in life. Surround yourself with those type of people, and you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
They're gonna give you positive affirmations, everything like that.
And that's what I want today.
Right.
I want to be surrounded by my wolf pack,
PRN.
PRN,
Yeah.
to help me
Yeah.
get through, to help me get through this. And I need to be careful who I surround myself with.
Right.
Todd says, good morning, everyone. Todd's in the house. And Suzanne says, if we stay too long in our heads, could that be a way we make anxiety worse? Absolutely.
Yeah. That's
Remember
my problem.
It sticks and then it gets bigger. It's like the merry-go-round. You
Mhm.
start slow,
Yeah.
and if you just keep pushing that merry-go-round, it gets faster
Right.
and faster.
Right.
And then it gets out of my ability. If I let it go too long,
Mhm.
I'm gonna have difficulty taking a step back.
Yeah.
Right?
For me, action is the antidote to anxiety. Once I start doing the things I'm fearing, then I start to see how the closer I am to it, the less the anxiety becomes.
Yeah.
It's only when I'm so far away from it, I'm only thinking about, oh, guys, getting closer. The farther the more I started doing action, started walking towards it or talk about it or do something
Yeah.
to get it out, the anxiety out. Is that even I start writing about it. I write about why I'm scared. It makes sometimes I rationalize it in my head because I can't trust what's going on up here. I
Yeah.
can't.
So I get festive up there.
Yeah.
And like I said, dun, 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 the music starts and then I hear dun 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 dun. It just gets worse. But like Suzanne said, it does get worse when we feed it.
Yeah.
Whatever we feed
Don't
grows.
feed the beast. Don't
That's
feed that
right.
stray.
Being positive now.
Kick it off the porch.
Absolutely. Yes, Steve.
So, also, I think because you can't get everybody negative out of your life, some people you're related to.
Uh-huh.
I found, is it true? When somebody tells me something,
Yeah.
I have to sit back and I have to think, is it true? And is it helpful, even if it is true?
Yeah.
And if it's not true, and even if it is true, if it's not helpful, then that's on them.
Yeah.
No, and just don't get drawn in because I have some of my issues. People give me like, my family's really good about bad advice.
Yeah.
I mean, that God love them, they mean it.
Yeah.
But it just this is not helpful.
They're sure of themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has anybody ever heard of think? Let me try to get through this.
Mhm.
Think stands for, is it true? Is it helpful?
Huh.
Is it something?
Interesting.
I-
Interesting.
Inspiring.
Inspiring.
I didn't know that.
Oh.
Is it necessary?
Uh-huh.
And is it kind? Now, if I think about that, is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? Is it kind? I'm going to keep my mouth shut a lot of times.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to feed that anxiety in me, because then I get to talk to myself that way. Right? Am I telling myself the truth? Or is this a possibility? Yes, but is it probable that this will happen? Right?
Like, as far as active listening, me and Fred, we were talking about it. Sometimes, some people have to have the last word. They want to argue. They want to just keep running on, and that leads to nagging, But we were talking about. We say sometimes it helps just to listen.
Yeah.
Sit back and listen. You may learn something.
Yeah.
You don't always have to give your advice or your opinion on something.
Yeah.
It's good to just listen sometime and watch things. And then you can define whether you want to put yourself in that situation, or take advice from another person.
Yeah.
I like that because sometimes people just sit back and listen because everybody don't know everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you might think you know, but you don't know everything.
Yeah.
But sometimes you sit back and listen. The more you listen, the more you understand.
Right.
Okay, I'll be quiet now.
No.
Yeah. Hold on, one at a time. Thank you,
Right.
Fred.
Right.
Not everybody knows everything. I got to find my experts.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
I got to find the people that know what I need to know today.
Right.
I always say I'm not smart, but I know smart people.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So I want to try to find these people that have that solution,
Right.
that have that antidote
Right.
to anxiety for me. And one thing we can do is talk to other people.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, have somebody listen to us
Right.
when I'm in that space. And when someone else is in that space, actually listen to them and then decide, is this, to be honest, is this my business?
Right.
It comes down to a lot. There's so much traffic here and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
Anxiety. Yes.
On that note, and also as far as the giving the advice, are they ready to hear it?
True.
Even if it isn't your business, but you can care about the person, you want to tell them something. If they're not ready to hear it,
Yeah, they're not gonna.
they're not going to hear it. So don't waste your breath.
Right.
And that's part of that. Is this going to make it better or worse for me?
Right.
Right.
Instead of advice, I'd rather give tools. Like, I
Yeah.
don't want to give you advice, but here's some tools, resources. So like being a peer support specialist, it's not my job to give you advice, but give you tools and give you suggestions of how I handle it.
Yeah.
In the situation, I can help you. If I haven't been through it, here's somebody else who has been through it. And I like people say, if I haven't been through it, I let them say, you know what, I'd rather say, I don't know. I've heard somebody
Yeah.
say, I don't
Right.
know. And they give me this information. Oh, it's over there. Like, no, if you don't know, just say, I don't know. It's no problem.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer.
All right, let's get back to anxiety.
Okay.
Woo!
Gosh,
I know I yelled, didn't I? Recognize and understand our anxiety. Tell ourselves my nervous system is kicking into high gear because I'm worried about speaking in front of a crowd. Telling someone something about me I'm not sure they'll understand. So that nervous system, our whole body changes, right? And when that starts kicking, that makes this kick worse, and that makes this kick worse, and that makes this kick worse,
Yeah.
and it's a vicious cycle for me. So if I can understand where it's coming from, like y'all were saying, is this mine to take? Right? Don't criticize yourself for those feelings. It says, this is a normal, healthy response my body,
Fight or flight.
by my body, right, to these circumstances which are complicated, stressful, and difficult. It's okay to feel this way. We all get anxious, right?
It's natural. It's natural. It's a part of us all.
Yeah.
Yes.
We have that fight or flight.
Yes.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes I kick into fight or flight or freeze stage when it's not necessarily something that I need to be worried as much about. But if a bear comes into a room, I want flight.
Yeah.
There's a reason we have in us this ability to assess the situation.
Yeah.
Assess
I
assess if we're in a situation that's dangerous for us.
Right.
Is this a reason to be afraid? It says, know that you can have anxiety and still function well. Right?
Yeah.
You can perform very well with anxiety and probably have done so before. Think about, right? We've been through this. I can't believe I got into such a frenzy one day. And, this happened and that happened. And I was so anxious and I couldn't control it. But it worked out okay. Or I was able to deal with that at that moment. Or I reached out for help. All those things. All those things. So think back to a time when you were anxious but did what you needed to do anyway. Wow. We step up, we show up, and we suit up and show up, don't we?
Right.
We suit up and show up.
I think a lot of times with the anxiety, sometimes we allow things that are the difference between everybody has anxiety, but some of us allow that little tiny thing
Yeah.
to become this giant.
So big.
And I think sometimes it's just important to step back and realize, is this really
Worth
as big a deal as
Yeah.
I'm making it?
Yeah.
Is this the fact that my shoelace has come untied? Is that really the end of the world, or can I just lean down?
And
Time
fix
to
it. Fix it. Is this something I need to get wound up about?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes I have to realize like some things like coffee and cigarettes could add to my anxiety.
Uh-huh.
Like the caffeine and the nicotine, even though it goes together, it's a delicious combo, but that could add to my anxiety.
Stimulates
Yeah.
the adrenal
That's
gland.
not. I mean, I have to realize that I can't drink too much coffee because I will be anxious.
Yeah.
That coffee, caffeine in my body is almost medicine. So I have to be responsible and know that this may heighten my anxiety to what I've got going on in the world today.
Yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
my diet.
I got to be careful not to make it worse.
Yeah.
I don't want to set myself up for anxiety in the morning
Yeah.
by drinking a lot of coffee or taking in a lot of caffeine but these were coping skills.
Yeah.
Right? A cup of coffee helped me back in the day to calm
Yeah.
down. I don't know how. You stand outside of an AA 12-step meeting. It's 112 degrees and everybody's there, their coffee steaming. I never got it. I never understood it. Yeah,
One
back.
day at a
And I
time.
mean, a lot of times it's like those stages. If we can stop, we let it get so big, like you said, so big.
Yeah.
We worry about it so much that if we would have stopped it at the early stages, it wouldn't be a
Yeah.
problem. But we let it get so big when we get to that point. We're so caught up in the anxiety or whatever the attack or whatever it is, we can't stop it.
Yeah.
You know,
It spins.
it's
It
out of our
starts-
control, so we can't. We don't think of the tools we have. But we have
Yeah.
the necessary tools to calm ourselves down.
Yeah.
But we let it get so big and we're so caught up in our thoughts, just racing it. Dun, 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 you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like
Can I turn that
we
music down?
can't. We just freeze.
Yeah.
you
You know?
freeze.
And a lot of times, like you said, the fight, flight, or freeze, we fawn
Yes.
sometimes.
Yes.
So yeah.
And fawn means we people please.
Yep.
To try to get to what we need,
Right. Right.
right? Because it's all about our needs today.
Right.
And is this emotion?
Right.
Like I said, fear is not bad.
Yeah.
It's what we do with the energy and how we learn to deal with it. If you see a bear, you should be afraid.
Yeah.
Well,
If you see a squirrel, maybe not.
Yeah.
But that depends on your triggers.
maybe.
If you were triggered by a squirrel when you were a kid, a squirrel may freak you out,
Yeah.
right? A squirrel may freak you out, like we were just saying. When your anxiety feels overwhelming, these techniques can give you quick, short-term relief. Stephen said, on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely is this thing that I'm anxious about going to happen? On a scale of 1 to 10. How likely is it that this squirrel is going to jump on me and go for my throat? Right?
He licked his lips.
You know, and I think when you get in that where it's all blown up, these can still diffuse it. Like if you're blown up over the silly little thing here,
Yeah.
and you got all inside, you know, sometimes you just have to take a step back and breathe and realize, really, I have another pair of shoes, you
Right.
know, or whatever the case may be, and that it's not that bad, or whatever this person is pushing on you
Yeah.
is not your responsibility. But it is harder once you're in the middle of it.
Yeah.
I'll agree with you on that.
Once I've made the mountain,
Yeah.
out of that molehill,
Yeah.
it is really hard to get
But it's easier
on
to
the other
climb
side.
downhill.
Or fall.
Daffy, dog, down with the like going, no problem.
Parachute.
Yeah.
It says, do I have good reasons to think something will go wrong?
Mm.
That goes back to that past thing, right?
Yeah.
If I can think about, have I been through this before, and
Yeah.
how did it turn out?
Yeah.
If it turned out well, then I can grab a hold of that and say, I've been through this before. If it didn't turn out well, how can I find a solution? How can I get to a point where I can take that step back
Mhm.
and use that difficulty to learn to do something better? Like Porter said, to use our experience, our superpower, which is our experience,
Right.
to help ourselves and to help another person.
Right.
It says, and we kind of talked about this, share your anxiety with someone you trust. Don't avoid your anxious thoughts, which can make them worse. Talk them over with a friend or a family member or a therapist or a priest or a taxi driver or, anybody. That can help us put things in perspective, right? It can help us. It can help me take a step back if somebody says, okay, I hear what you're saying. Let's look at it this way. Let's look at the probability that may happen. It may not, right? The world may not end tomorrow, right? So am I going to perseverate over that? Am I going to go over and over and over again in my head? Because I've learned that when things come out of my mouth, it dissipates. That once it hits the air, it gets a little less serious.
I said clarity will confuse. Clarity will clear all the confusion in my mind. If I get clear about something, it clears the confusion. I'm not scared of it. That's why I educate myself on what this is and what a guy can do about it. And I'm not confused, not scared of it, because I understand it.
Yeah.
Clarity will clear all the confusion in my mind.
And I want to be able to understand what I'm going through. I do. I want to be able to understand. I want to be able to know as best as I can how I can take a step back from this. You talked about breathing. Breathing is a big thing we can do. Taking a mental break, we can do. Just take a step back from the festivities and look and see, is this as dangerous as I think it is? On a scale of 1 to 10, how probable is it this one? Can I readjust my nervous system by choosing to do something different? Can I get up and do something? It says in here that if it's been 15 minutes and you can't sleep, get up and do something.
Right.
Till you get tired and go back to bed. So we want to use our skills and our tools to calm our mind, but also to calm our bodies, right? Because that's what here to here to here to here to here to here. That's what happens to me. And I want to be able to do these things effectively because I'm tired of going through this shit, right? I'm tired of the anxiety over things that may not be as critical as I think they are.
Can I say something?
Yes.
Yeah, I've been dealing with anxiety and depression, and the anxiety has been really bad for some reason. And I'm job hunting, and I'm nervous about getting hired. But these are jobs I've done before, and I can do probably,
Yeah.
But the anxiety is just so overwhelming that I have the fear of getting hired.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
It does. It does. It absolutely does. And it goes in a circle, doesn't it?
It does.
It does. And it's so hard to break out of.
Right.
That's where we need our support people, I think. That's where we need our support people. Yeah, Pat.
I would say just my opinion. You should try some people they have in movies they play like some music before they go in for the interview. They arrive early.
Rocky.
Some music
yeah,
just to pump you up and get you ready, And especially since you say you have experience, think like, okay, well I have experience, I got this,
Yeah.
Just put positive thoughts in your
Yeah.
head, like I got this. I have experience,
Yeah.
Pump yourself up for it.
Okay, Patrick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The-
thanks.
The next thing goes right along with
Yeah.
us. It says use a mantra.
Yeah.
A mantra can shift our minds away from being anxious, and we play it over and over in our head. When I was going to school, I didn't realize this was a drinking song because all I knew was the chorus of it. Right? It's I get knocked down, but I get up again,
Yeah.
and you'll never ever keep me down.
Yeah.
You know, and then it goes into the whole drinking part of the song. But I didn't know. All I knew of that song was I get knocked down, but I get up again. And you're never going to keep me.
Yeah.
And that just in itself, every time I came out of my statistic class crying
Yeah.
because I didn't get that mad shit,
Yeah.
I would say it over. I get knocked down, but I get up again. You never ever keep me down. I get knocked down, I get up again. And just over and over again until I believed it.
Right.
Until I believed it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So we
Yeah.
shift our thinking. We do our
Right.
best to shift our thinking.
Mhm.
And it helps me a lot when I've got somebody else in my corner, right? To use,
Sure.
to be with friends, to do those things that help me.
I think it's just an opportunity to do something differently because some people don't realize that there are other options. And
Yeah.
I didn't realize that there were other options for a long time. Now I know there are other options. I don't have to stay in this place. I don't have to stay in this place. I can come here, which is the tool, my group, my fellowship.
Yeah.
I have this now. I'm not where I was. I'm not by myself.
Yeah. We're not alone today. And we don't have to be.
Did y'all come up to a field trip in my
You need to
mind?
quit leaving your house here. Every day you leave the house. Anyway, anxiety it makes me anxious for you.
Now I'm feeling everybody's been talking about it, man.
Jeremy.
When you said little things, I let little things cause me anxiety. I know I tell you all the time when I get here that I had anxiety the day before.
Yeah.
And I was at Starbucks the other day, and I was like waiting on my taxi, and I was like on my phone just looking up, YouTube videos, and I was waiting on the taxi cab to call me, and I was like,
Yeah.
taking a look, and I was like, I don't know why I'm making this a big deal, even though Yellow Cab doesn't really, have very reliable drivers, but instead I just stayed at Starbucks and I waited for my ride and finally got there.
Yeah.
But maybe I just have too much coffee.
That's it. If you're drinking Starbucks coffee, Jeremy, I think that may be part of the problem.
Yeah.
It
Too
gets
much
me wound
caffeine.
up. It
Yeah.
gets me wound up. But like you said, it happened anyway. Your ride came. And I love what you said about you were looking at YouTube videos, you were looking on Facebook, you were doing something to distract yourself
Right.
from that intense feeling of anxiety. Drinking coffee, smoking cigarettes,
Yeah.
Decaf. That's what I do.
decaf coffee.
Yeah.
This ain't non-alcoholic beer. What are you talking about?
All right. So kicking anxiety's ass. We do things like breathe, think through it. We use our mantras. We use our past experience so we understand that I've been through this before. There are things I can do today. And it always takes action, doesn't it? It always takes action. All right, I want to thank the crew, the wisdom of the crew here. I want to thank my friends online for hanging out with us. And I want to tell you two things. Warm line. There, we have a 24/7, 365 call away from someone that knows how to listen. They are peer support specialists who have been experienced in life's difficulties. So when you call, you want to, they'll listen to you. They will hear you. And that's a beautiful thing. If it's 3:00 in the afternoon on Sunday and your mama's on your nerves, call us. If it's 3 a.m. and this is kicking, call us. We're here. We're here. The second thing I want to talk about is share this video. Even if you don't know of anybody that might benefit from it, share it anyway. There might be someone in your group that will need this information. There may be someone in their group that may need this information. So share these groups. That's how we're taking over the world, one person at a time. One person at a time. All right, I want to thank everybody. We will see you next week. Keep your power. Do what you need to do to get through. All right, keep peace, share love, and we'll see you later.